So over to you, Mr. Raj, if you can take us through your presentation. We have back-to-back presentations, and let's get started. I think reimagine, you have captured it very well, our thought process about reimagine, what we are trying to do here. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anuj. Good morning, all. I think the challenge for us as panelists is to one, help all of you understand and appreciate the challenges that this whole COVID-19 fiasco has presented to the globe. It's not only India, it's to the globe. And the kind of repercussions and consequences that we all deal with. Some of them are known, a lot of them are unknown. And that is why the first element of this discussion, which is we need to reimagine, because what we have never seen, we can only imagine, right? So we have never seen consequences like this, and hence we need to reimagine our business. Let's start with the basics. Why reimagine? One, like I already said, COVID-19 is a disruptive change, or what people call a black swan event. Never before, unanticipated, and with unimagined impact. Globally influencing and with long-term consequences. I mean, come on, we have heard about countries in South America defaulting on corporate interest payments. We have heard about tankers stranded on the sea with oil in it. We've heard oil becoming cheaper than water, and hence there are no buyers. I mean, these are consequences which none of us could have ever imagined. At the same time, it has also resulted in unprecedented fallouts. Economies, governments, policies, business trends. China has now become the bad boy of the world. All countries are switching back to localization from globalization. The trend is towards, and even India, we are talking of Atmanirbhar, where we are talking of being self-dependent. What does it mean for us? It means unimaginable consequences, because there are policy changes, there are economic disasters that are happening as we speak. The unfortunate state of migrant labor, which has its own consequences. We will talk about it a little later. Now, hence, all this is definitely something that puts us on the back foot, and we need to reimagine what is it likely to be in the future. If I look at the fallouts, what are the fallouts? The fallouts are global. As an SME, you can turn around and say, listen, how does it impact me? But I think it does, because if you understand the impact of these fallouts, you will be able to better appreciate the opportunities that it throws up, the challenges that it throws up, and how we ourselves need to rethink the way we are looking at the business. There are economic fallouts like deglobalization, deceleration, disruption. There are policy fallouts like deficit financing, currency devaluation. What does all this mean? Because governments are trying to deal with this challenge in the best way that they can, in trying to preserve their economy, support their industry, support their citizens, and at the same time shore up their healthcare and ability to deal with this. Hence, there are administrative fallouts. Administrative fallouts because of labor migration, social unrest, social distancing, and healthcare. There are emotional fallouts. Last but not the least, because some of us, obviously all of us are worried. There is nothing wrong in fearing this, because the whole globe is fearing it, right? But I think we all need to build the courage to deal with it. Courage is about overcoming this fear. And I think that it's only fair, it's all right to worry about it. But think constructively to figure out, how do I deal with it? What all do we need to reimagine as a businessman? I mean, all this is global. What do I need to do as a businessman? I think the following elements, I just picked some elements, and my esteemed panel members will talk you through and walk you through how we deal with these and how the government is enabling us to deal with these as well. And we're all here to talk about it, to give you ideas, to give you suggestions in the ways and means that you can deal with it. The business models will change. Where we were assuming that we will sell in a particular fashion with a particular price through a particular channel, all those assumptions are out of the window. Because the assumptions are out of the window, the business model will change. Some of us may actually have to become digital. Classic example, you look at QSR restaurants. QSR and social distancing don't go hand in hand. What will they do? They need to figure out how they can leverage digital marketing, how they can leverage takeaways, how they can leverage, retooling and redesigning the environment to ensure this social distancing, and how they can ensure, a larger coverage or a larger footprint for themselves to be able to deal with it. Now, that's just one example. Customer preferences will change. Customers who love to come into crowded bars and crowded may not want to. Given the fear that individuals have gone through, there is need for social distancing. Along with that, there is a fear, and that fear will lead them to stay at home. They would rather order home, order in, eat at home, meet friends close by, and hence the whole attitude of what they will buy and what they will not buy will change. Luxuries, they may decide to postpone. All these are things that impact our business, because at the end of the day, we are an SME catering to a particular industry. We need to understand what impact it has on us. Economics and profitability. How is my profitability going to get impacted? What are the changes that this is going to bring? What do I need to do to make sure that I am able to deal with it? Market dynamics. The market dynamics are changing. The predictability of the business is out of the window. And we all have to learn to deal with it proactively, because the earlier we deal with it, the better our chances of survival. So part of the revival and survival strategy is to rethink, and hence the reimagine. This is the first step of doing everything else. Employee behavior. Your migrants have disappeared. If migrants have disappeared, you need to look for local labor. Local labor has a different approach to doing business. Okay, has a different approach to working. It may mean higher costs. It may mean retraining. It may mean changing your whole supply chain and logistics, and your raw material and availability may change. Your capital availability is going to determine what you're able to do, because capital is at a premium now. Loans, banking, every relationship you will have to relook at, reimagine it, saying, what do I do differently? What do I need to do differently to deal with it? Legislation is changing. The government is introducing new legislation which you need to deal with. Okay. Social distancing may very soon become a legislation. I hope it does not, but it may. If it does, then yes, all the way we work will have to change. I mean, on a lighter note, brands and product preferences are changing. The whole focus on China and not buying Chinese stuff and buying local stuff and Atmanirbharta will mean a shift in brand and product preferences. The whole focus on buying only essentials and not buying luxury goods may also mean a shift in brands and product preferences. What do we need to do to deal with it? I think that's the thinking that we need to do. And if we are able to do that thinking, if we are able to put some thoughts together, we can actually make this work. All this calls for rebudgeting. And my esteemed colleagues will talk about it, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But everything you will have to revisit. Your budgets have to be rework your costs, renegotiate your contracts, redesign your workflows, redefine your business boundaries. I mean, why would you might have been selling all over the country, but given the constraints, you might decide that, okay, now I will become a regional player. I don't want to cater to the country. I cannot. I don't have the ability. You might have been only an offline player. You might decide, listen, I need to move digitally, because that's the only way I can distribute, I can sell. My dependence on face-to-face meetings and negotiations will have to go down. If that has to go down, my business model has to change. Recast your targets. Recast, appreciating all the logistical issues, because there will be logistical issues. And last but not least, we'll have to retabulate the business economics. Does it make sense for me to be in business? Who knows? Some of us may even have to deal with that question. What are my assumptions when I started the business? Rework my costs, understand because under the revised safety security norms, we may have to actually spend more to ensure that we meet those norms. Redesign your workflows, renegotiate your contracts with customers, suppliers, employers, consultants. Nothing is a given. Redo manpower and capital requirements. Do I really need so many people to work with? I mean, it's a bitter truth, but I think you will have to take a very serious look at it. Redefine business boundaries, saying, do I need to sell all over the country, or can I survive by focusing on the local markets? or nearby markets. Recast your target markets based on that and understand the logistical issues, which will be very different now, given the social distancing. Last but not the least, please look at all this and then say, does my business still make business sense? Can I make it a viable and profitable business? What new ways can I do my business to make it viable and profitable? I think that's the thinking that calls for, which leads to rebudgeting. Yeah. How do we revive the business? And this is the last one. A quick look, my colleagues, my esteemed panel members will talk a lot more about this, but I thought I'll just put a few bold points. Start a strong digital outreach program, outreach with past, current, and potential customers. That makes a huge difference to your ability to connect and start the business and get it going again. Get the organization on the same page. It is extremely important to have all people who are with you understand what you're trying to do. And hence a need to communicate and keep communicating. Revisit every relationship with banks, suppliers, customers, consultant. Look at the costs, whether you can afford it, not afford it. How do I need to do it differently? Can I do it less? Can I change from fixed to variable? Can I do a cost restructuring that will help? All this you have to think. Redefine your business priorities based on cash flows. This is the most important one in times of crisis, especially SMEs. And this is all my experience of dealing with SMEs for maybe 40 odd years. Okay. Please look at your cash flows first and not the profits, because your cash flows, if you're ensuring that you have cash and building business, profits will follow. Start with cash flow, not with profits. Cut all the nice to have costs and hunker down for a long haul. It is going to be a long haul. I don't think this problem is going away very soon for us. I wish it did. Believe me, that would be wishful thinking. It's not going away. Network with associations, influencers, trade bodies. Keep tracking the changes that are happening in the environment, because it's a very dynamic and fluid situation. A lot of changes are happening. So please keep tracking it. And last but not the least, please see this as an opportunity to rethink and reboot the business. It is not about revive. It is about thrive. It is just a flavor of what this whole COVID-19 means to us. My colleagues will walk you through the rest. But suffice to say that, yes, it's challenging times. But I guess that is what entrepreneurs are made of, the ability to deal with challenges. Over to you, Anuj.